The Iliad, an epic of war, love, and wrath. Retelling of Homer's Iliad, expanded edition. Many centuries before Christ, a turbulent time between the blue waters of the Mediterranean, Greece, and the cities of Troy. The gods then cast a shadow on human lives, sometimes a blessing, sometimes a curse. The joys and sorrows of human life are like the melody of their humor. This story is not just about war, but about swords and blood. It is a story of friendship, revenge, love, honor, pride, and forgiveness. Part 1. Beautiful Helen and the Fire of War. The palace of Sparta shines like a golden flame in the evening light. Helen, the wife of King Menelaus, has a beautiful form. Her face is like the light of the moon. The goddess Aphrodite had made her the most beautiful of all women, a divine gift, but it also brought disaster. One day, Paris, the prince of Troy, came to Sparta as a guest. Long hair, a bow on his shoulders, the blue of dreams in his eyes. At first sight, his heart stopped when he saw Helen. Music sounded at the night banquet, the clang of the lute, the tinkling of the dancers' flutes. Helen and Paris's eyes met at one point. The speed of time seemed to stop. A few days later, on a turbulent night, love did not break their bond, but broke the social bond. Paris fled to Troy with Helen. A woman's love became the cause of a 10-year war. Menelaus was furious. Insult, his wife, his honor had been robbed in such a way. He immediately sent a message to his brother Agamemnon, the king of Mycenae. Helen must be brought back. The enemy Troy must be taught a lesson. Agamemnon turned the wheels of his chariot and sent messengers throughout Greece. The kings responded: Odysseus, wise and cunning; Ajax, with a body like a mountain; Diomed, brave and bloodthirsty; and above all, Achilles, the invincible hero. Thousands of ships moved forward in the moonlight on the sea. The Greek fleet set foot on Troy. Part 2. The Walls of Troy and the First Year of the War. The city of Troy is surrounded by high walls. King Priam is wise and kind. His wife Hecuba, the best of his sons Hector, is the beloved of the people. Hector is calm in nature but indomitable in battle. He knows that war means death, yet it is his duty to protect the kingdom. The war began with the sound of ear-piercing trumpets. The Greek camp was set up on the seashore. Fires were burning. The sails of ships swayed like stars in the night sky. In the first battle, the heroes of both sides entered the field one by one. The glint of swords, the sound of blows on shields, sweat on foreheads, dust flying. The war was like a volcanic eruption. The Greek army was strong. When Achilles swung his sword, the Trojan soldiers fled in terror. The gods were watching the fun. Athena sided with the Greeks and Aphrodite with Troy. In the war, sometimes an invisible hand was protecting, sometimes pushing the arrows astray. Many years passed. The war was long, not for Helen, but for pride. Part 3. Achilles vs Agamemnon, the birth of rage. The Greeks got many captive women in the war. Achilles falls in love with Briseis, a gentle girl. Achilles develops affection for her. But one day, when Agamemnon is forced to return her captive, Achilles demands her. Give me Briseis. I am the king. I command. This was not just taking away a woman, taking away the honor of her hero. Achilles gritted his teeth in intense anger and said, "The war is going on in my power. If I stop the fight, you will see how weak your army is." Returning to the tent, he stuck his sword in the ground and swore, "No matter how much blood the Greeks give, he will not fight." Part 4. The Rise of Hector. When Achilles withdraws from the battlefield, the burden of the battlefield falls on Hector, the crown jewel of Troy. He puts on golden armor and moves towards the battlefield.
With him are 1,000,000 soldiers. The Greeks are devastated, walls collapse, chariots overturn, soldiers are wounded. With each blow from Hector, the enemy ranks break. He is not just a warrior, husband, father, hope of the kingdom. At night, Hector meets his wife Andromache and their baby son in the palace. Fear in Andromache's eyes. "Don't go to war, Hector, we need you." Hector takes the child in his arms and says in a soft voice, "I will return from the war with victory. Troy is my responsibility." Their tears touched the stars in the sky. War is not only victory, but also separation. Part 5. Patroclus, Test of Friendship. Patroclus, Achilles' close friend, heard the cries of the wounded soldiers in the camp every day. With courage, he requested Achilles, "I want to go to war wearing your armor. Let the soldiers think that you have returned. That will give everyone new strength." Achilles stared in silence for a while, holding back his anger, but he could not ignore his friend's request. He made a condition. "You will only chase the enemies, but you will not face Hector." Patroclus entered the battlefield wearing Achilles' transparent silver armor. The Greek army shouted in joy, "Achilles is back!" The Trojan army retreated. But Patroclus turned into a drunken warrior. He advanced towards the city gates. Just then, Hector arrived. The fight between the two was fierce. Finally, Hector's spear pierced Patroclus's chest. The armor broke. Hector understood this was not Achilles. The Trojan soldiers cheered beside the dead Patroclus. Part 6. Achilles' Rebirth, Becoming a Flame. Achilles' body trembled after hearing the news of Patroclus's death. His friend's blood ran like fire in his veins. He cried out, but in that cry, along with love, the poison of revenge was born. He prayed to his mother. Thetis, the goddess of the sea, went to the godsmith Hephaestus and requested that he make a new suit of armor for his son. Hephaestus made a suit of armor whose shield was engraved with stars, crops. Achilles put on the armor. His body was shining. The soldiers cheered his name. He said, "I will not find peace until I see Hector." The gods looked at the battlefield. Part 7. The Final Duel, Achilles and Hector. Achilles drove his chariot like a storm and rushed towards the enemy. The Trojan soldiers ran. No one could stand before him. The blood mixed with the river water and turned into a red stream. Finally, Hector stood in front of the walls of Troy. The air of the city was silent. Father Priam, wife Andromache, stood on the wall and looked. In their eyes there was fear, hope, pain. Hector knew, if he returned, shame; if he fought, death. But he was the protector of the kingdom. He raised his sword and said, "Come, Achilles, today it will be decided who will live, who will become a memory." The swords of the two men flash. The two heroes fight in turns. Dust on the ground, chariot wheels shake, thunder sounds on the shield. Finally, Achilles throws his spear and pierces Hector's throat. Hector falls slowly, a calm smile on his face, as if he knows he has become history. Achilles ties Hector's body to his horse in anger and drags it. The body of Troy's beloved son is humiliated. The city cries in the air. Andromache's mouth is a silent scream. Part 8. Old Priam's Mercy. A fire is burning in the camp at night. Achilles' heart burns like fire. He cannot eat, cannot sleep. The memory of his friend torments him. That night, a unique event occurs. Old King Priam enters the enemy camp in the dark and stands at Achilles' tent. Tears in his eyes, ransom. He embraced Achilles' feet and said, "I am Priam, whose son you killed. I have come as a father. Return my child's body. Think what pain it would have been if your father had lost you." Achilles was stunned. Not an enemy, he saw a helpless father in front of him. The memory of Patroclus came to his mind. He broke down in tears, holding Priam's hand. Take Hector's body, mourn with honor. Priam departed, the city of Troy was filled with mourning. Hector's pyre was covered with flowers, the smoke of tears rose from the fire. The end, war never ends. The Iliad ends here, the fall of Troy came later, Odysseus's wooden horse came later.